Hello everyone. Mirdita Gis Shipfolze, nga Kosova dhe Macedonia. Hello for all of our partners in Macedonia and customers as well. Today we are here to present some new features and new capabilities of one of the best our partners, Veeam Software. Some days before it was launched, the version 11, and it has a lot of interesting features inside against some ransomware attacks and every kind of security details that this platform offered. My name is Manuel Voiga. I'm a system engineer in InfoSoft System Albania. Today with us it will be Ioni Sulioti as a cybersecurity engineer in InfoSoft Albania, and it's honor to have, as already we do Veeam casts, Cornel Popescu, senior system engineer from Veeam Software. Thank you, Cornel. We can discuss about some Veeam. We can discuss about some Veeam best features that Veeam offer in backup and replication platform and so on in availability suite. So we have to go on three pillars to our destination of to protect data. So Veeam is a very big company that offers backup and replication software. They offer cloud mobility, they offer public cloud integration, they offer monitoring and analytics, and for sure, orchestration and automation. Based on that, we have to go on pillars on our opportunity to take ahead with Veeam integration as an integrated company. We are going to touch on our premises tests and our solution proposal for customers, any cloud, any workload, and any app. So we can go to all public and hybrid cloud integration. We can use any workload based on virtualization environment and all kind of infrastructure as a service that we want to have on our solutions, and for sure protect any app. It's a very big opportunity to have a tightly integrated solution between Veeam as a very best data protection software and two of our best partners as a system integrator. So we have to compete a very good complete solution with backup repositories that already offers deduplication and compression. So on our solutions, offering Veeam as the very first platform for data protection, not only for backup and recovery, but already protecting to be protected by some ransomwares and so on. We are going to propose solutions that are already integrated and comes as a complete system by Dell EMC with data domain and Veeam, and from HP Enterprise with StarOnes and Veeam. So those two integrations, those two combinations that are already tested on our facilities and offered to previous projects are very good, and we have this one on the first line when we offer data protection solutions based on hardware and combining with Veeam on top, for sure. It's a very tightly integration software with all kind of storages that we want to have on our premises to protect them and to see all the features that Veeam offers to manage storages and to manage those kind of vendors that are already integrated on this platform. This is an interaction about what Veeam offers. It will be a good presentation today by Cornel because he's going to talk a little bit more for to be protected by ransomwares and so on, offering and explaining some feature by the version 11, the newest one. Let's have Ioni in the loop. He's going to talk about some good and interesting things about ransomware protection that are in general the procedure, but they are already be offered by Veeam features. Thank you.
Thank you, Manon, for the presentation. Hi guys, everyone. My name is Ion Sulioti. As Manon stated before, I'm senior cybersecurity engineer at InfoSoft System Albania. And we are talking here about ransomware. We are making an interest to see what are the benefits of using Veeam as a solution to support nowadays this part of attacks that are ransomware that are going, they are expanding and getting bigger and bigger and are causing a lot of trouble to companies. And looking to last year, 2020, that was a very disastrous year with a lot of problems with pandemic and people starting work from home and everything else. They make a lot of struggle for companies to preserve security, to help to not have any cyber attack or problems with their security. So my presentation will consist on what is the ransomware, global situation, attacking vectors, and how we can prevent ransomware. Ransomware, as everybody may know, is a type of malware that encrypts victim files. The idea of this malware is to encrypt victim files and to offer and to get from the victim the ransom in kind of money and to take some financial benefits from it. Well, if you want to get your data, you have to pay back the attacker. But the problem is that not always when you pay, you get your data back. And not always is that an option because, as we know, sometimes the ransomware are not very well designed or very well conceived. And when they encrypt the data, they may lose the ability to get your data back. And ransomware were first in the 1989, I think, in the 1980s was the first time that we saw on ransomware, but at the time it was very difficult and very, let's say, not very sophisticated thing. But the problem with ransom was always how to get back the money, how the attacker get back the money. And we see a lot of attacks in ransomware when with the cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Ethereum when they enter the marketplace. So and people start to have some anonymous transaction and get the money back. So this is the idea of why we have now a lot of ransom. And as we can see in this slide, it's, let's say, we have a lot of I would say we have a lot of attacks. We now see that in 2015, each business frequency to be attacks on cybersecurity field, we have in 2 minutes, every 2 minutes. Now in 2021, it's believed that will be every attack in 11 seconds. You understand that this is a very great risk for every business. It doesn't matter what type of business you're, if it's government or if it's private sector, doesn't matter, or if it is in financial sector. Always it's time that people and attackers want to take some money back from their attack. And we can see the cost growing also from 325 millions in 2015. We now see when we expect that in 2021 we have like $20 billion damage, and this is caused from growing and attack vectors and problems with the ransomware. We also see that they are the same traditional vectors that we see that the attacking vectors for ransomware, email attacks, social media messages, pop-ups. These are the main traditional vectors of ransomware attacks. But also we have some new vectors that are related with supply chains. As we saw last year, 2020, the SolarWinds cyber attack. It offers a lot of problems for every company in the world that used the SolarWinds solution, and they have a lot of problem with that. We saw that they use SolarWinds, the software, to get back to their end customer. That was probably US government institution or other firms like FireEye or other firms that uses this type of solution. So we see a lot of new vectors, like for example, the insiders, that people inside the company, they are pushing the malware, ransomwares. So to have some benefits and to get benefits from this. We have this seen in last year, I think, with Tesla, when one employee was was threatened to enter this type of malware in the company. So how we can prevent ransomware? What can we do for preventing ransomware? So what we can help our business to prevent any ransom to be a victim of ransomware. So the most probably there are operating system update and patches. We should, every IT administrator knows that they have to make to do the latest updates, to do the latest patches for the operating system softwares and everything, to give to not give administrative privilege to every software they install in their operating system, because this is a very crucial part. So the installation of antivirus and whitelisting the application, but the most important thing that every system administrator should do is to back up their files, their data frequently and automatically. This is the only part that can save you. For this, I will bring up a story that is about one of the biggest players in the aluminium market. That is a Norwegian company. They were attacked, I think, in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and they were attacked with a ransomware, and they had a big problem, but we saw that they didn't pay the ransom. They didn't pay the ransom. Why? Because they got back to restore everything from their backups, and from the infrastructure they have in place. So no one is safe these days. Always will be some attacker, always will be some new vectors, always will be someone that will try to encrypt your data and you can lose your data. But one thing that you can do is to back up them and do it frequently and automatically. This is the greatest thing, and to have this as simple as possible, so the system administrator don't have headaches on doing this. And this is why we are suggesting the Veeam backup solution. So it's one of our partners, and to see what they have done and what they have created to protect our clients' backups from the ransomware. Thank you, everybody. Now I will leave to Cornel the stage to see and to talk about the product. Okay?
Yes.
Cornel?
Just 1 second. Let me make myself presenter and show my screen. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, it's good.
Okay, perfect. I also enabled the camera just to say hello to everybody. But to save some bandwidth, I will disable it just in a second. So yeah, hello from my side. Thank you guys for joining. We are going to talk about the strategies, so what we can do to basically prevent ransomware. But we're also going to touch the side when, when this happened, you need to be prepared. And in order to prepare for that, you need to follow some strategies and to have a plan, right? So that's, I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. Okay, let me disable my webcam. So basically the strategy, and it has to match with the product capabilities, right? So I'm going to show you a little bit about our capabilities as well, and I'm going to show you in the product itself how this is done. So just a few words before going to talk about Veeam. Let me tell you that this is a live webinar, so you can interact with us. There is a chat section in the GoToWebinar platform, and there is also a section for questions. So you can use both of these for question to obviously ask your question, ask us about if something you want to know more or you didn't understand in our presentation. And in chat, of course, you can interact with us and you can, give us your feedback and let us know if this is interesting or not for you. So why Veeam? Basically, I'm not going to enter into much details, but we are in the market since we are founded in 2006, and we had the first product in 2008. So it's 13 years of innovation for us. We bring a lot of features to market, and the latest one is the version 11, which was released in February, so about a month ago. This is already available, so if you are a Veeam customer and you have a contract, you can just upgrade to V11. If you are a new customer and you want to buy Veeam, you will get the new version automatically. So it's a 4-in-1 solution, because what we do is, of course, we do backups, but we can also leverage the storage snapshot from the storage. And you'll see a little bit later on why this is important, because by design, the storage snapshot is a read-only copy of your data, and we can keep that and we can restore from storage snapshot. So in a way, if you lost data and you have the storage snapshot, obviously you can do it without Veeam, but we can help to make this recovery from storage snapshot much more efficient and much faster. And of course, if it's data is in a backup or you have the storage snapshot, we can do all the recovery, from any of these devices. We can also do replication. And what's new in version 11, one of the things, because we have a lot, it's like 150 enhancements, you can do continuous data protection. That's CDP replication. So any of this technology will help us basically create a copy of the data. Now, many things just to mention here, as I did, continuous data protection CDP is in V11. What we are going to focus a little bit today is this Linux hardened repository, and this will give us an option to fight against ransomware. In simple terms, we can make the data read-only or immutable, actually, because read-only, it's sometimes you can change the permission and then you can delete the file. But if you make the data immutable, yes, there is still a way to delete data, but any operation that requires data deletion will not be easy, right? So it will be denied automatically, and we can set an expiration for the immutability option. So this is really cool, because it's you don't need to pay for you get it in the product, and it's not you can use Linux repository, so just Linux server with some data on it, and you can have this benefit. Other features like archiving in the public cloud, instant recovery enhancements, and this targets databases, NAS data, so we can recover that instantaneously, and a lot of enhancements in the as a service, in both backup as a service and DR as a service. So I really loved what Yoni told about the ransomware and how it became norm today, I would say. And just my thought, because obviously what we do is we protect data by doing backups and copies of data, right? Yanni told that in the 80s, the first ransomware. And I think back then, the main difference, we had a lot of viruses. I remember when I was hit by a virus. I had a computer with a disk drive, like a big 5 inches disk drive. And basically, the difference between then and now is what Yanni said. They figure out a way to monetize what they are doing. I mean, a virus was just some smart people out there created that, and they destroyed the data on a computer or infected, but without real benefits. They just prove the world that they are smart. Today, with this transaction that can be anonymous, and they figure out this way of getting money for what they are doing, they lock the data. So they encrypt it, or they block access to it. And of course, if this happens, if you lose data by doing something wrong, or if it's a ransomware that hit you, your last line of defense is a restore from backup, or a replica, or a copy of data that you created previously. So that's the main, we come and say that we help in ransomware, and we help in responding to ransomware, and to create a plan, to have something, when this happens, you'll be prepared, right? If you don't have anything to recover from, the only option you have is to pay the ransomware. And as Yanni said, again, it's a really good thought. Not always, if you pay, you get a data back. And the costs, if they charge you, they will, you have to pay what they are asking, because you can be a small company, and if they ask for 1 million euros, this is what the price, right? So I don't think you can negotiate that much. If you are also big company, of course, again, the same discussion, you cannot negotiate with them. So if you don't pay, data is gone. And yeah, if you can live without your data, and I think a lot of companies today cannot live without the data in their computers and servers, it's fine. But I think you are one of these companies and users that cannot afford to lose data. So as a resiliency against ransomware, the first thing we need to do is education. And I think this, I really thank InfoSoft for organizing this, because this is a way to educate everybody and to, tell the world, basically, users, administrators, everybody, that they need to be protected. And we are going to discuss what we specifically can do in this, and of course, to have a remediation plan. So I think these are the best 3 strategies that you can, prepare for ransomware. And again, Yanni was really, top notch in regards to, ransomware is a real threat. So let's treat this seriously, because it can hit anybody out there. So in terms of education, we know that from our support that people are opening tickets with us. They are Veeam customers, and they are open tickets because they are hit by ransomware. And I was talking with one of the tier 2 engineers who told me that how can I help is to educate people. And this is actually my role in Veeam, to educate people about the products that we have, but also about this risk out there. So just you can start with basic safety steps, how to install antivirus, you have InfoSoft to help you to fight actively threats like this, and of course to guide you also in terms of data protection, in terms of backups and restore, right? So if you don't know what to do, ask them. They are very good in this field. So users should have mortal fears about ransomware, because this is a real threat. And users are also the biggest enemy in terms of ransomware, because I saw this not only once but many times. They receive an email or a phishing attack, right? So they respond to that. They receive an email that they enter a wrong password, and they open a link where it goes to, and you can see here, this is a real example, an email that was received, and it was, if you read this, it's like, okay, Amazon sent me an email, but actually, if you just look here at the domain, it's it's not Amazon. So users sometimes open this, and so we have to educate users. Don't open, links that do a basic check, and if you are not sure, you can ask IT admin, you can ask partners, to understand, and they will identify immediately that, this is not something that you are supposed to do. So you should not click on yes here, or even no, because also this one goes to a website which will require you to enter your password, or because if they get your password, they can do stuff with your account, right? So this is important. To help you, assess the risk of phishing attack, there are 4 resources here. So I encourage you to go visit. I know also this is a international governmental resource. You can use different ones, but you can safely simulate access and the risk of phishing attack using these resources. So go ahead and we know also, as I said, we know that our customers are hit by ransomware, and yeah, we have forums, we have people asking about this, and I can tell you one secret. It's not actually a secret, but it's more like a reality these days. And the people who are doing the attackers, they know that if they attack and they have a chance to get money from you, and you have a backup, that's not good for them, right? So they learn to search for backup, for backups, and because we have a lot of customers and we are one of the biggest backup vendors out there, they know about us, and they try to disable or remove Veeam before starting encrypting data, to leave you with no option in terms of restore. So we have to fight that as well. So we know about it, and we added security features, and as I said, I will so the best approach is to have a layered defense. Layered defense means not with one account to do everything. If they get your domain admin account, and every server out there is in domain, and Veeam is server is in domain, obviously there will be much their life will be easier, the attacker's life, right? So let's do a layer defense. Let's have multiple layer that they need to penetrate in order to, and keep in mind, there is no silver bullet or magic bullet to one shot everything. So now let's switch to our implementation and what we did specifically to ransomware. And the first thing I want to discuss is ransomware detection. And actually, I have, as I said, I have a small demo. So let me go to the product. So I hope you can see, yes. So you can see my screen. Manolo was mentioning about Veeam backup and replication. That's the backup product. If you get availability suite, you get a bundle of Veeam backup and replication and Veeam One. Now, in Veeam One, in the monitoring tool, let me show you something which is, if we go here to alarm management, you'll see a lot of alarms, for a lot of stuff that can go on there. So I just put here ransomware because we have, for Hyper-V and VMware, we have possible ransomware activity. So let's go here and check, because it's this is a default alarm. So we might detect ransomware just by looking at how the virtual machines are utilized. We know that when ransomware starts encrypt data, they use CPU for that, right? So if the CPU is above 70%, and another condition is that the usage for the data store, because encryption means to read data and also to write it back in an encrypted format. So if these two conditions are met, there can be a possible ransomware activity. Or there is this rule here with data store rights can be the network traffic. Somebody is leaking data, right? So if CPU is high and the data store, like it's also writing data or is transferring data, network transmit rate is higher than a value, and these values are quite, let's say, safe to to put there, because they will not put when they start encrypting data, they will not do it slowly. They will do it as fast as possible, because they want to have locked access for you, so they want to finish in as fast as they can, right? So this is one of the rules we have, and of course there is any virtual machine is observed, and you can set actions. Of course, you can send notification to receive an email, or of course to receive an alert in Veeam 1. But you can also, send SNMP trap. You can run a script. You can, send emails and stuff like this. So you can be notified. Of course, there can be, a normal behavior for some servers or virtual machines to do this. And of course, you can exclude, so you can edit exclusion and add your, virtual machine like database servers that are doing this, or to increase limits, if it goes over 1 gigabit per second, and all this you can play around, but you have it, right? So it's important, in my opinion, to have this kind of defense. So and by the way, in the newest version, we have the logic, which also includes handling of suspicious increment backup sizes. If an incremental backup is too large, that means a lot of data has been changed. And if that's the case, we again will notify you, like something happened there, right? It can be normal for a database, I don't know, to output data in a table or something like this, and of course take some space. But if the backup usually is like 5%, the incremental backup, and at some point you get a 70% incremental backup, that's not normal, right? So you can check that. And another good strategy is to keep the enemy guessing. If you use different devices, and I think InfoSoft is also partnered with EMC, so they can give you appliances like Data Domain, or HP with StoreOne's Catalyst, other devices like Exagrid, or Linux servers, right, with just disks, right, just Linux servers with disks that we can use with Linux hardened repository. So if you have different operating system and different protocols and different accounts, admin or root accounts, that will be very helpful in terms of, they will not know, an attacker will not know everything. So if they know, for example, how to get into Linux, they might have troubles to guess how to connect to Data Domain or to StoreOnes. And our master rule, which I had to bring up, we recommend that you create 3 copies of data. So if you have a virtual machine, do 2 backups, 2 copies, right? And use 2 different types of media to store these copies. If you have all flash array and your virtual machine, the source is on all flash, you can do backup to disk, or you can do backup to tape, or to cloud. And especially for ransomware, what we need to do is to provide one offline or immutable, so with a higher resiliency of data deletion. So let's put a wall there for somebody that is trying to delete data. If your data is offline, like tape is out of the tape drive, they cannot do anything. It's in a safe. So somebody needs to physically take this tape to put it back in order to read it. They cannot do this through the internet, right? So it's really important to have also offline, immutable, air-gapped, a copy of data in an ultra resilient state. Some ransomware are sitting on data. Consider the retention time for this copy of data. So if you have retention for 1 year, 1 month, 7 days, so when and this is the discussion about how ransomware attack. Typically, if they infect one computer or server, they will not immediately start encrypting data and block access to it, because it's just one computer. It will be easy to recover just one computer. So what happens is, ransomware, after you get infected, ransomware will spend some time, some days, in order to spread to multiple computers, to multiple servers, to find your backup server and your backup data, trying to remove that, right? So again, after it spends like 30 days, of course, you continue to do your daily backups. But if you go back to last backup, which was yesterday, ransomware is still on your data that you just restored. So that's not good. So the idea is keep the enough retention to handle any possible infection, right? If you keep 1 year, it's obviously you can go back to like previous year, right? And you can still recover. You lost a lot of data, but you have something to go back to, right? So keep in mind, with retention, we also can give ransomware a headache, right? So it's important to have also this kind of bigger retention. Don't keep just last 7 days, because you can, obviously, it's your choice. But if you think that, okay, I'll need a lot of space for my backups and stuff like this, yes, but the price, probably it's worth paying, except the situation when you have been hit by ransomware and you cannot recover. If you go to 7 days back, you just put the ransomware back in place, right? So it's not going to be helpful. So maybe you have not thought of to ask for help. Be prepared to ask for help. If you if you don't know how to open a support ticket, and it will be helpful for us to be able to help you, but we need you need to learn how to open a support case first, to log into our platform and to have an account that is linked to your licenses. So we'll be able to help you if you can make that call. Again, restore options. Be prepared. Learn what type of restore you can do. So file level recovery, you can recover just a bunch of files. You can recover entire virtual machines. So all this, you have to know what to do. And you can also do secure restore. And I think this is one of the things that it worth showing. So let me go back here to my lab. So let me put it in. Okay. So now I'm going to open my Veeam backup and replication, and I'm going here to my console. I have a lot of a lot of backups and a lot of. So if I'm going here and I have a backup, for example, for this this file server, and I want to do instant recovery, for example, or entire virtual machine recovery. So let me go here. So this is my virtual machine. This is the restore point. So all the backups that I have for this, you can see that I have multiple copies. With this job, I'm backing up this virtual machine daily. But then I'm going to, what I'm doing, for example, here, I'm also doing a copy to a store once device. And this is again is doing on a daily basis on the store ones, right? So I can choose this backup like 8 days ago, and yes, we can restore to original location. You can restore to a new location with different settings, or you can do a stage restore. But what I'm going to show you is this one. So secure restore means that when I'm going to do this restore, I want to do a scan. I want to, a security software, because we are not doing this alone. For example, you can use Windows Defender, or you can use other vendors that are able to perform this scan and to search for a specific ransomware and to identify that malicious software. And of course, if you do this and we receive, if we receive the information from this security software that something is there, we have an option to proceed with recovery or abort the recovery. So we can scan the entire image, and if something is wrong, if the ransomware is there, abort the recovery. Do not recover. It doesn't make sense to recover with. First, you can eliminate it if you scan it and you make sure that ransomware is removed. Then yes, you can perform the restore. If it's not, if it's still there, stop it. Right? The choice is yours. You can proceed, but disable the network adapters, for example. So you can actually finish the restore. The ransomware is there, but without network adapters, cannot get out, right? So you can install your security software inside, antivirus, and can extract, remove the ransomware, right? So secure restore is one of the features to help you fight if you detect ransomware is there. In terms of implementation, keep in mind, we can secure our implementation. We can, just assign the permission that is required for normal operation. Do not, again, a good practice, backup server can be part of a Windows domain, but a good practice is to keep it outside of the domain. Why? Because domain admin group will not be able to log in on backup server, so they cannot. If your Active Directory admin account is compromised, backup server will not be affected. They cannot log in to that. Keep it as a separate server. So just assign the permissions that are required. And Help Center, we have everything on the on web, right? So you just, if you search Help Center Veeam backup application, you will get this. And in planning and preparation, we have the required permission and also the use ports. So these two are very helpful. Don't let all the ports open. You can block the ports. You can just leave the required ports. For example, for us to store data to a data domain or to connect to a different server. Don't leave the RDP open and all the ports that can cause trouble, right? So just the ones that are enough. A lot of installation, especially for small customers, we know that they are all-in-one installations, which they're fine. You can use one backup server that has console and the database and proxy role and the repository role. But sometimes it's a good practice, for example, just to keep the repository in a different place. Why? Because obviously, if somebody gets into your backup server, they can remove everything, they can do everything, right? Keep the data, because actually, if you have the data stored on something and you install another server, backup replication server, and you point us to this location of where you have the data, we can do recovery. So keep in mind, the data needs to survive, and if it's in a different place, it will be harder for attackers to delete it, to remove it, to compromise it. And now we are going to discuss a little bit about the hardened Linux repository. This is a V11 features, and one of my favorite features, honestly, because this gives us this option. I'll go back to my slide, but let me go back to my demo. So here is my console again. So it's really easy to do. So if I'm going here to backup infrastructure, repository, I can add a repository, and it can be, any of these options. You can add direct attach, you can add network shares, you can add appliances and object storage. If I'm going to direct attach and I'm going to choose a Linux, this will give me the wizard to add the Linux repository. Now I already have one, and it's called XFS repository. So let me show you how I added. So I give this name XFS repository, and I added my server, right? So this is my server. You have the option here to add new. This is an existing one, so it will just display the server. And of course, if you hit populate, it will display the partitions and the space you have on that server. If we go on the next repository, you have this option for use fast cloning. This is new in version 11 as well. But I'm going to talk a little bit about this. So make recent backups immutable for 7 days. Of course, you can put here you can put 30 days. So what is this immutability doing? It's going to, for any backup file that we are storing on this Linux repository, we are adding the immutability flag, and we are going to set this option for immutability for this number of days that you set. So keep in mind, if you put 30 days, we set immutability for 30 days. Now, this is a Linux, repository, and the idea is that we don't connect to the Linux repository with the root account. So we don't know the root account. You just add this repository, and then you store the data with immutability. Now, if somebody gets to that Linux and it's able to connect to it using our account, they are not able to delete anything or to change the data that is there, right? So only root can do this if you set immutability, but it's not required for us to know the root password and the root account in order to connect to that. So this is a job, and I'm doing a daily backup. So let me show you how data is shown on that. So these are the virtual machines that I'm backing up, and you can see that I have, it's let's take this. This is an Exchange server, so I have fulls and incremental backups going there, and you can see that there is a immutability option set, because this backup that has been created yesterday, it's immutable until 11th of March. That's 7 days from yesterday. And also, if you go to the oldest backup that I have, this is immutable until tomorrow, right? Because the data cannot be deleted from that one because it's immutable. We cannot do it. Nobody on the Linux server except root can do it. So, they need to compromise your root password, and there are good practices to keep it safe. Not being able to, for example, you can disable root if you want, right? So it's another big hurdle, for ransomware, if they get in, to remove the data from that Linux repository. So denying any backup deletion, and actually here it's from our console, basically backup cannot be deleted. I mean, it can be deleted. Can be deleted, but there is a date, right? So it depends that date on how you set immutability. So you can see this date, and this date, and it doesn't allow us to delete that backup, so it gives us a warning. And you can also see if you if you see, this is actually from Linux, that all these files have a iLock, so they are immutable. So if you go there and list attributes, all these files will have the immutability attribute set. And again, in V11, as I said, basically to connect to that Linux repo, you can use single use credential for hardened repository. So you don't have to give us the root. We just need a single use credential. We use it once, then you can, use a non-root account. We add the server, and then we don't use that credential anymore, and you can remove it, right? So it's a single use credential. And then we can use the Linux, set the immutability, and you can, secure it, disable the root, all this. And yes, as I showed you, basically this option to make backups immutable for a number of days. How to install the hardened repository? You will receive these slides. So if you want to use this option with Veeam, you have all the steps here. So 5 easy steps to basically add this option for the Linux server that you are going to use as a repository. As an architecture suggestion, yes, backup server, how it should be, can be a virtual machine, a proxy server, yes, it can be different or use the same, but again, it's good to have it separately, just from the security perspective. And connection from both of these, backup server and the proxy, to the repository, you have only one port, it's incoming, and you can only leave that open. Everything else you can manage, for example, the Linux via out-of-band management like ILO or direct cards. And we have this immutability for all stages of backup. So let me just go through really fast. We have this option for scale out backup repository. When you create a scale out, you can add in the performance tier the Linux hardened repository, and you have the same option with a cloud based repository. Like for example, Amazon S3 has the immutability option. So if you want to backup and send it to cloud, you can also use immutability in the cloud. So you can have it on premise and also in the other location. Also S3 compatible, so there are vendors out there which might offer the immutability compatibility. Again, for us, it's really important to have the data secure, not being able to access by everybody. So it's a good practice to keep encryption. You can add encryption on backup jobs, on transaction log backup, on backup copy, in Veeam zip, on tapes and media pools. We use AS 256 bit encryption. So this is one of the highest standards in terms for encryption. So encrypted data, you cannot access it without doing decryption. So you cannot, for example, read that data without the keys. And another good practice is have no internet for backup infrastructure. Don't give a backup server internet access. It doesn't require internet access. Some customers that we know, they are using this, like they give access simply because it can do automatic updates, for example, or notify you about updates. But you know what? It's updates are not performed every day, so you can just update. Like for example, if you run version 10 and you heard about version 11 and you want to upgrade your backup server, don't do it from the backup server itself. Just use your laptop, connect to internet, download the bits, scan them with your security software, and then copy it to backup server and update it offline, in an offline mode, not necessarily connected to internet. And because we are reaching the time, I'm also taking a look at the question, if we have any questions there. Okay, no questions so far. So just a few tips behind the design, as we said. Number one shortcoming in your backup strategy is that you have no air gap or immutability or stuff like this. So the best practice is to keep at least one copy offline or air gapped, just out of reach of ransomware. Consider also the most recent backup of, your latest data is in latest backup, right? Put there also the configuration and, and put it on tape or removable disk, something that you can remove and make it offline really easy, right? And here we give you a lot. This table, it's suggestions. Basically, tape media, it's always offline if you take it out from the library. Replicas are powered off, but in most situations, it can be powered on, and it's not as safe. Story snapshots, they are read-only by design, but if a user they are residing on your story, so it's probably different credentials to connect there to change it, delete it. So it's quite safe, but it's on the same equipment, so it's not that good. In Cloud Connect, you can send data to a cloud provider, and that is a bit safer, but again, if data gets deleted from a cloud provider, you can still ask for a limited period of time that the cloud provider data will not be deleted automatically and destroyed. They will have an interval of about 7 days that they can still recover the deleted files. After that, data is automatically deleted. If you back up to removable media on rotating hard drives, it's similar to tape. You can take it offline. And immutability, you can use hardened repo with Linux, or Amazon S3 or S3 compatible that keep the data immutable. So that's also a good option. And we are running out of time, so I'm going to skip this because I want to talk about the remediation plan. Always have a plan ready, and document what you need to do. And in simple words, make a plan. Don't think that you have a plan, but just put something in written, keep it in a safe, just to remind you what you need to do when if that happens. We don't wish that this happens, but you need to be prepared. And a number of procedural tasks to implement is isolation and powering off of impacted system, how to contact support, including Veeam support or other vendors. Consider different type of restores and know what type of restore you can use and you can have, and use secure restore at least once. Try to integrate with one of your the most common is Windows Defender, because it's in there. It's you have it most likely, but you can also do it with other vendors. Like we have 4 vendors that we know that we are integrating with. But if the security solution give us access to command line interface, we can actually script and put the instructs this software to perform a scan and give us an answer. That's what it takes to do the secure restore. And yeah, basically that's it. There are in worst case scenarios, the target has to be rebuilt. So the time to solve that and the time to restore its recovery time objective is it's higher. So do some investigation. We give you some free tool. In the war case, if you have to do it, you can at least do it once, simulating it and figure out how to react to that. if you need more assistance, you have a link here. There are some web resources that you can use, to read more. Obviously, you can contact us. I hope this is one of the educational webinars that give you enough reasons to contact us. This presentation was done with my colleague Rick Van Hoover. He's a senior director in product strategy with us. He's also on social media, so you can interact with us. You can tell us your feedback and concerns, and we can discuss this. With this, just taking a look here at questions and chat. I don't see anything. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining this. Thank you InfoSoft and Manol and Yanni for making this possible. So yeah, thank you everybody, and have a nice day. Manol, Yanni, you want to add something?
Yes, Cornel, it was a good presentation. Thank you so much for a lot of information and a lot of new capabilities that version 11 now is offering, not only for backupping and replication and restoring, but also protecting in a highly technical and highly technological state. So we have to organize some other costs and communications and discussions with our customers in region, in Macedonia, Kosovo, Albania as well. We are in touch every single day with our partners and all our colleagues in InfoSoft Macedonia, InfoSoft Kosovo. So for every single brief that we want to complete on proposals, solution proposals, we are sure that we have in touch Veeam representatives and you as well for completing all solutions and sending them to the customers. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much, all of you guys in Macedonia and Kosovo. And it was a good day. Today it was a little bit technical, but very good. It was likely I liked a lot. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you guys. Have a nice day.
Dear everyone, apologies, please wait a second. We have an announcement at 2 o'clock. We are going to have the live streaming at the Instagram account of InfoSoft, where we are going to raffle the prize draw among the participants. Please join the Instagram page. We will send you now in chat here and also in the follow-up email. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Let's have a stream in 14 o'clock and see who will win the prize. Thank you all of you attendees. Thank you so much.
Thank you.